Number 11. Number 11. I thought I already did number 11, never mind. Today is the 29th of November. It's an important day today. It's a Saturday and I'm walking Tuco. It's about 10 o'clock. And Flo is off today with Tuco to Maraval. And from there, I think 2 days later or whatever, she's off to Toulon, getting the TGV to Paris, and then she's off to India. And she will not be back until the 2nd or 3rd of January. Allez, Tuco. Allez. Tuco, no, allez. She's eating something. And I will be on my own for the next few weeks. Except I'm off next Thursday to Malaga. And I'm back the 8th, which is Monday, I think. And we were with the Manleys last night. We had a meal with them, and I got kind of cranky at the end. I was kind of regret that, because Martine was just talking so long and slow about it. She just talked non-stop. And I don't know what got on my nerves. And as we were leaving, I said, "God, women think they know everything." And then I said to Flo, because Flo was about to say something about me being on my own for Christmas for the 10th time. And I said, "What is it with me being on my own for Christmas? I want to be. Stop, insisting that I kind of go to some other people or whatever." Anyway, I wasn't very happy afterward with the mood I was in when I left. That's just venting, I guess. So I'm going to be on my own for a while. Except the Manleys have the keys, because they're going to be looking after the cats when I'm away. So when I come back, I should try and get the keys, because I really don't want anyone to bother me. Now, this week, the week just gone, again, was a pretty big week. On Monday, I had an appointment with Dr. Merite. We went all the way to X, me and Flo, and then I realised I forgot my injection that you're supposed to bring. And then when they gave me a prescription to go to the pharmacy, when I got to the pharmacy, I realised I'd forgotten my card vital, so we had to drive all the way back. Then on Tuesday, I went to the dentist in Manosque. I had to drive myself, which was a bit stressful, driving into the car park and everything. Had a long chat with the dentist. He reckons I need not one but 2 implants, both front teeth, because the other one is in the same state and there's a chance one will infect the other if I don't have both of them done. It's going to be over 4,000 euros. They pulled both out. They give me some temporary teeth I have to wear for a couple of months. And that's all coming in February. A little bit more to go. And then on Thursday night, we had to go to meet Stephen Katz, John Woodgate, James, Nicole, Flo's friend, lots of other people at a small, Matt, English guy, at a small restaurant, kind of coffee shop, cave in Forcalquier. And Flo was doing her class in Forcalquier, so I had to go and find the place on my own. In the end, I had to ask people because I couldn't locate it, which was not my fault this time. Apparently, it really was complicated to get to. So that was kind of stressful. And earlier that day, I got a taxi back to X to get my final injection. A taxi where I had to get the transport bon de passage to pay for the taxi. So I drove, I got a lift all the way up and back. So that was another thing that I don't particularly like very much. Yeah, and then yesterday we went to the Manleys. So in a sense it was a week filled with things I don't like doing, but I should be peaceful now for a while. Although, as I know, something always comes in and fills up the gap to that peace. Stupid things. Because now I'm thinking the Manleys have my key and they're not going away for Christmas. Are they going to drop round or something when I least want them to? That's one thing. And the other thing is, well, the thought of the dentist and the process that has to be done is going to be on my mind, I think, until it's actually out of the way. And then after that, of course, I probably need to have my blood test done. I need to have my scan. But I hope that I can get myself into some kind of a meditative state where I can say, well, now you've got nothing to worry about. You're free for a few weeks or a few days, for a month, and you should really do your best to just relax. Enjoy the solitude. Enjoy the lie-ins in the morning. Enjoy doing whatever you want. Go for some walks. And Flo's going off. I don't know at what time today. I'm going to be a little worried about her as well. I think she gets back. Anyway, Tor and Gerard are coming, so I'm going to say goodbye here. So I'm home now. This is going to be no footsteps. It's just gone midday and Flo just left a few minutes ago. It's funny, you never know how you're going to feel, because you know you're going to miss someone and to go and Flo, but you don't know whether it'll be delayed or, you know, whether perhaps you don't feel very much. But I do feel quite sad. It's funny. I feel like I felt the first time when Flo went, and I had that kind of lump in my throat. And then when she went the other time, I didn't seem to feel that bad. But this time I do. It's I think it's because we've been together so much. Although, fuck, we're always... It wasn't like we weren't together in the Connemara, oh my God, every day. But the same here, you know, I've been around every time she comes back from yoga, and we always have our lunch together. And Tuco as well, he's got quite a lot of his own little personality and energy, so it's extremely noticeable when he's not there, you know. And so everything, like the last time, everything is gone from being kind of energized and busy to being very quiet.
you can feel the presence of Flo and Tuco gone, you know. And I've been looking forward to having some time on my own, and I'm sure I'll be all right in a little while. But it's done something to me. I don't know if it's like this sense of I've got these things coming up. I have to have my teeth done, and I don't know how Merite is going to find my eye, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't suggest, yeah, why don't you have injections every month now for the rest of your life? Because they're not pleasant. So there's this, and then in the coming year, there's no job, and there's also it's kind of a paradox. There's a wish on the one hand to have a job and have some money, and on the other hand, there's a kind of fear of finding a job and being miserable. There's a kind of a lack of the ability to drive at night. So I guess there's a few. It's. I don't know if it's kind of like a midlife crisis, which is kind of stupid with someone who's very close to 60, you know. I think I need to buy batteries if I go to Carrefour. I was planning on a walk because the bar, it's going from 3 bars to 1 bar. It's always been a bit of a problem here with the now it's dropped to 1 bar with the way the power works on this thing. Anyway, who cares? So I'm off. I'm on my own. I mean, now today's Saturday. I'm off to Malaga Thursday, and right now I'm feeling that it was a good idea to jump on that invitation, because it does give me something else to think about, you know, and kind of look forward to. And then when I come back, of course, I'll have about 3 weeks here on my own. Kind of new territory. We were with the Manleys yesterday. And the day before that, we were with Stephen Katz and a bunch of people in Fort Calquier, John Woodgate, James, Nicole, a guy called Roman, an English guy, Cockney guy called Matt, in a small place. And I kind of talked to a few people, and except for saying something like, you know, the only point where I would get kind of excited in a conversation is saying how great Ian Dury and the Blockheads were, or when I used to dress up. I got a chance to tell someone when I dressed up in the 80s with all these big tough guys, um, they left me alone because they all liked David Bowie. Or when I told somebody else that the guys looked after me in the factory because even though I had my long red hair, certain things, very little, that were kind of energizing to say. But then most of the interactions or the conversations were kind of strained a bit, where, you know, you don't really know what to say to people. And then with the Manleys last night was kind of the same. There was no great joy in the dialogue, and Martine going on about stuff was just. I said to Flo after, I'm. It's so different from me for someone to have no awareness that if you're telling a reasonably interesting story, but you're slowly and kind of with the monologue going on for 20 minutes, half an hour, just relating something that it's not that interesting. I don't know how to describe that. I think as an Irish person, or maybe just as me, you're very aware of the attentions of people and how to make a story interesting and how to try and make something funny, and you're extremely aware that most people don't have any interest really in lots of the details about your life, you know, unless it's a specific question they want answered, or unless you've got a story about some misfortune that's normally more entertaining and funny. I guess I just know how, I wouldn't say how to entertain people exactly, but I know how not to entertain people. I know when people will switch off. And I always thought it's kind of common knowledge. You know, if I'm telling my story about going to X to have my eye injection and then I forget my injection, I'll tell it in 15 seconds. There's no need to... It's not a story that you can tell in half an hour and build up to it, because it's just not that fucking interesting. And I'm amazed at someone like Martine that can kind of drone on with the story. And if she wasn't interrupted, she would probably carry on for the entire evening and be completely unaware that most people are asleep at this point and no one cares. The details of the story. I can't put it across in words, actually, how weird I find that someone... I think it hits me on different levels. In one sense, it's the incredible confidence of a person to just hold their ground and hold the stage with something that is quite clearly uninteresting. And in one way, I have a certain envy for that, I guess, because I'm always worried I've outstayed my welcome. I always try, I'll try and make the story short as possible. Anyway, I don't know why that got on my nerves so much. But that whole interaction there, they're really nice people, the Manleys, and we are there to kind of help each other out, and they would, Mick would kind of do anything. And it's mainly me, perhaps, that I couldn't relax during that evening. I didn't know what to say, and I couldn't follow conversations, and I wasn't interested in conversations, and it was the same kind of in Forcalquier, and Flo says, oh, you're going to end up like your Uncle Jim, you'll have nobody and no friends, and you'll be on your own. And it's a bit of a dilemma, because I don't necessarily want to be like that guy, but at the same time, when I do have interactions with people, it's just uninteresting for me. It's just... I said to Flo, I'm only going to this thing because we were invited. This is the Stephen Katz thing. But I don't expect it to be. It's something to get out of the way. And I was kind of right, There wasn't any great high point to it. There was nothing I missed. There was nothing... I tasted some really nice roast potatoes. That might be the highlight of the whole evening. And the Manleys was kind of the same. God, I hope it's not the case that, someone said, oh, if you visualize things, then eventually that's the way they are. You kind of project your experience into the future. because in these two events, they were exactly as I thought they'd be. And that's kind of disturbing. You'd like to come back and say, I'm so glad I went. It was nothing like I thought it'd be. I had a great time. But unfortunately, it's not like that. It's exactly as I thought it would be. And I had a mediocre time. And in both instances, the high point in a way was leaving. But what does that say about me? Does that mean I'm just at the point now where I'm done with interactions? I can't be bothered with nothing interests me anymore? I mean, very little interests me in the way of movies, or am I going to be that way now with people? It's just going to be painful to have any meetings. The only person over here, well, there's two, I guess. There's David, was interesting to talk to, and Simon, the English Simon, was interesting to talk to, because he is someone that's, I think Simon is genuinely incredibly intelligent, incredibly sharp, and with that comes the little bit of almost craziness. But the conversations with him, although difficult sometimes, because he can go off on a tangent, but they're fascinating in a way, And David, the same thing, fascinating, his level of stuff. He can elevate the conversation that I'm having with them, and say stuff to me that pushes it further, and it's things I haven't thought about, and whereas with most conversations like yesterday and in Forcalquier, they're just mundane, and me talking about my past, as it is in a way energizing for me, but God, it's not. There's a little bit of interest in it maybe, but not much for anybody else, and even for me now, it's starting to get a bit long in the tooth. But it's a bit disturbing. What does it say about me in the future? I mean, I could embrace my isolation in a way. I spent all my youth, in a way, my adolescence, my 20s, let's say. I went to many bars, and I just sit there and drank, and I didn't have to interact, but I was part of a group of people, and I remember saying it to myself even way back then. I said, I don't have to interact, but being in the middle of people, that kind of solves the need for me. That is my interaction, my moment. It's healthy for me psychologically to be in a group, even if I'm not speaking, even if I don't know anybody, just to be watching people, to be interacting on a metaphysical kind of level, on an imaginary level, on a, I like sitting beside people, not beside, but let's say in a pub, where I can see other people looking at me, and no one really knows me, and they maybe project what I could be, and I can do the same, and it kind of, in a way, that's more interesting than having the boring conversations. But I got one bar left. I wonder, is this thing going to go off? Who cares? Anyway, but now I've got all this time on my own. That kind of, missing flow. We do care deeply for each other. But on the negative side of the feelings I have, it is the insecurity as well, I think, which is not good, but it's the, I think, and I'll feel this when she comes back, maybe, there's a sense of someone to look out for you when she's around, and I don't think she feels anything like that about me. She doesn't feel that I look out for her because she's far too independent. She looks out for herself. But also, to be honest as well, I mean, it's hypocritical in a way, because there have been many times when I've enjoyed myself and I've kind of been uneasy when Flo comes back, especially if we're not getting along that well. And during those moments, I used to think, I can't wait till Flo goes to India and I have all the space to myself. And I won't have to worry about looking for a job or doing this or that, or Flo saying anything to me. I'll be peaceful. So I have spent many, many moments looking forward to being on my own, and I have to remember that. But of course, it's, when we leave, and Flo goes, you never want to leave on bad terms or anything. So I think we've been both aware for the last week that let's not get on each other's nerves now. Let's not get to any point where we leave each other on bad terms, So we've been on good terms. And although I don't think I've ever had a midlife crisis, to be honest. I don't think it's ever been a thing. Turning 60 is, it seems to me, psychologically, it seems a lot more difficult than turning 50. I feel there really is a sense of you've gone over the top of the fucking hill when you think about being 60. And then there's some other stuff if anybody gets this far into this, including me, this is the interesting point, I think. I feel like there's a lot of people, and I'm not sure I can communicate this. Let's say for the Christmas thing, people are like, oh, you can, or Flo will be like, you can call Stephen Katz, John Woodgate will be there, you can spend Christmas with them. So the Manleys will be here, if you need anything, you go with them if you want for Christmas. And I'm like, I don't want that. I want to be on my own. And then when Flo is talking about my personality with John Woodgate, this happened the other day, or even with the Manleys, she'll say stuff about me. It's like I'm under attack. And sometimes I can't really defend myself because the stuff is quite true, so there's not much can be said for it. But it's like somewhere I'm not able to say the proper things to illuminate people, and maybe myself. Some of the stuff that I felt reading Nietzsche, maybe I need to go back to reading him, I don't know. But something about going your own way and something about not letting it get to you. But there's a sense that psychologically it's like being ganged up on, where people are criticizing your life and your beliefs and everything about you in a way. And I can't explain it. It's had an effect on me. And it's not a question where you start to question yourself. It's not a question of, oh, maybe I need to change and try and be more like the person they want me to be. No, it's that you don't have the proper response, and you know there is a response, and you know there is a way to defend certain actions, and there is a way to defend your personality and the way you are, and there is nothing wrong with being on your own, and there is nothing wrong with not wanting to follow astrology or astronomy, or not wanting to be, because I want to be enlightened. Who doesn't? But I don't want to pay some person to do it. I don't want to follow some person, because there's so many people out there that seem to know everything, and I haven't found someone. I want someone to say, well, this is just my view, but I don't know anything. That I would follow that person. This is kind of unconscious stuff almost. It's very hard to put into words. I'm just giving you it's like a sketch for something that is not clear, you know. Something about the interactions with Flo and other people have bothered me over the year. I guess all the way back to Flo saying various things to me. You know, oh, you can't work, you need to go. Ring Martina, tell her to get you a job. Go back to Ireland. And I know she doesn't really mean it. It's just that when Flo gets annoyed, I think it's a woman thing. They don't censor what they say, and they haven't the sensitivity to know how it can hurt someone. And the word is, they're very direct. Well, direct means awful in a way. It means no fucking manners and no awareness in a way. That's what direct means to me. And I've had a lot of that this year. And I know she doesn't mean it, because then she can say the opposite 2 minutes later. But I think this next couple of weeks will be kind of an evaluation of the year that's gone. And I really do feel I'm undergoing kind of changes. There was something I read many decades ago about kind of one of the thing about an adolescence, where you're very, very slow in terms of the development stages. So your adolescence doesn't really kick in until 10 years after the period. And so for me, perhaps the midlife crisis kicks in, 10 years after it should have. Everything is kind of, it takes longer to kick in a way. Not everything, some things. Where do I go from here? Well, I haven't a single problem in the world today, that's for sure. I've managed to get all the things done I wanted to do. That's worth saying. Because I was worried, I won't get the injection in my eye and it's going to fuck up the treatment, and there'll be nothing to test when January comes, because Merite won't have given me, then maybe this would have been terrible. He'd say, well, we really needed the full dose of those injections, so we're going to start again in January and give you another 3. And then we'll test you in April or something. But at least I got that done. I took the taxi. The other thing was what? Oh yeah, Flo managed to have a long conversation with the dentist secretary. And so I'm more in the clear about that. And all these things now are next year. Let's put it that way. They're next year. I'm still in November. November is going on till tomorrow. So I've got the whole of December, and there is no rendezvous or appointments in it. So the schedule is clear. That doesn't mean that shit doesn't hit the fan in December. Who knows? That knowledge of how things can go awry, it's a scary thing. It's something you don't want to dwell on too much. especially now that I'm on my own here. This is one of the things where I think it's not very healthy, that feeling of, oh, there's no one here now, you know. I have to, it's not as strong as it used to be. I think I can kind of handle myself. I have been through pretty tough times. That situation in London, it's funny thinking about at this moment what happened in late 94. When first of all, I had that year of living with no money and no job or nothing. And then I got hit and I had to go to hospital and I had to have this done and I had to call a taxi to get back. And it's funny because in a way it was like a prelude to the things you'd be doing in older age, you know, not in a violent way, but I mean, I'm going to have stuff done to my teeth, my eye, taxis. And I think when I look back on that as I get older, it was because that period very seldom leaves my mind. I'd say every week I have thoughts on the Sutherland Avenue brief period. It's not, I guess, because I wrote about it, but also because it laid some foundations in me for gaining some strength in later life. I think it was like saying could be what you're, you know, get used to this. If you can deal with this now in your late 20s, you'll have a bit of an advantage when you get to 60 because you'll have had the experience somehow. How long have I been talking? 29 minutes. I'm going to stop here. But if I want to vent, I come back and do another one a bit later. I am in the humor to talk, I have to say. Let's go till 30 minutes. Hello. I just changed the batteries on these things. That's why there's a bit of a pause here. And these batteries seem worse than the last batteries, which is surprising. So, I don't know what to do. Should I try some more batteries or should I put the other batteries back? Because these ones are just 1 bar. I took them out of the tin that I have. I got a tin of batteries, and I know I wouldn't put dead batteries in there, but the thing is, I may have bought them 7 years ago. And batteries, as far as I'm aware, they don't kind of keep their charge forever. It's not like you buy some batteries and you put them in a box and then you can use them in a decade. They don't kind of last like that, I think. So anyway, I'm going to continue with these ones for a bit. The solution, of course, is to buy batteries in a shop, which I meant to do today, but I forgot. This is number 13, and kind of realized there's no need for me to talk about all the stuff I did on 12, the previous entry. I know that sounds so obvious, but I was tempted to rattle off what happened today, but there's no need. If you're listening to these things, and if you're not listening to them in order, then, well, I'm just telling you, you need to listen to 12 to find out where we are here. So I've just had a walk. It's 3:30, and I think I set off at around 1. kind of makes sense. I get there at 2 and I stay there for a few minutes and then I get back at this time. And God, I was trying to find some music to listen to. This is the reason, by the way, for this recording. I don't know why. I think this is important for artists out there. I wanted to find something to listen to, and I ended up listening to Scott Walker. And I listened to the album Tilt, and I listened to the song Tilt, which I find quite empowering. And then I listened to A Farmer in the City, and from Scott Walker. And it starts, anyone that knows the song, it's like, I'll give you 21, 21. It starts off like that. Then it goes, I'm a farmer in the city. And my mind, for some reason, jumped to the conclusion, to the meaning of the song in a second, like a moment of inspiration. And I thought, oh my God, this is a song about a horse being auctioned. But the horse is aware of it's aware of its human existence that happened before the human was reincarnated into the horse, and the horse is having a miserable time, like animals do, horses, donkeys, Asian animals, awful. And when I thought about this, and I thought, my God, this is the view of the horse. I don't know if this is in any way what Scott Walker meant. It's just an idea that came to me. And it was kind of horrific, this notion of, imagine the horse completely aware of its human existence and finding itself in that position and kind of thinking, God, I thought I had it bad as a human. But now I'm here and I'm left out in the sun and the cold, and I'm hungry or I'm thirsty, and I'm just standing here in the rain. No one cares. And I used to be a citizen, and I used to be a person, and I used to be someone in the town, and now I've come to this. And I never thought about the horses. It's kind of, the lyrics just hit me like a thunderbolt, and I thought, oh my God, it's like a nightmare kind of song, an awful thought of being reincarnated into a poor animal that's been treated badly. And for a second, my existence was just changed. Like all these things that come and go, but for a second, I just thought, oh my God, however bad you think you have it, worried about your teeth and this and that and the other, worried about people finding out that you're drinking fucking beer again. What about if you were a donkey in Egypt? We've seen them. Or a horse in fucking almost anywhere. The lives they have. You could almost argue that the sheep and the cows' lives are short, and you'd like to think that their deaths are quick and their lives are quick. But donkeys and horses, many, many years of appalling. It's so depressing. I have to get out of this mindset, because that's the kind of thing that would just drive me nuts. And it's that kind of empathy doesn't really do me any good, but there are horses and donkeys. I can't get away from that. I mean, they're living now. Stuff is happening as I'm talking. But there's a billion people on the planet. And, what can I do?